Mark. Welcome to the Flick List here on our channel, wherever you're watching, whether it's on WTCO or it's on YouTube. Apparently I said something funny because my co-host, who is...
I am Erin.
...is laughing at what I said. Mm-hmm. Did you like that?
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah. Well, hi, Mark.
Oh,
I don't know if I quite got the accent right or not, but...
you can try as much as you can. You're never going to get his accent
If you want to call it an
accent,
I guess.
You can't get it correctly.
No, because I've heard like other people impersonate that accent, and they all kind of sound a little different from the next one. But anyway,
vague European.
Vaguely, or by way of Louisiana, or something. We'll get into that more. But anyway, welcome to Two Sisters Talking About Stuff.
What now?
Oh. Well,
no, that's my podcast.
just in case you don't know, Erin has another show. Shameless plug.
Thank you.
If you would like, well, I don't know. I'm doing all the plugging, but really, maybe I should let you.
I have a podcast that updates very rarely that I do with my sister called Two Sisters Talking About Stuff. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts, and we just talk about whatever we feel like talking about.
And that's it.
Yep. She's going to be so surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. We're just full of surprises today, I guess.
So many surprises.
Yeah. All right then, Mark. Well, today on our episode of the Flick List, just in case you might be new to this show, what we do is Erin and I decide on a topic for a particular show, and I pick 5 movies under that particular topic, and Erin also picks 5, giving us a list of 10 films that we talk about during an episode of the Flick List.
Yes.
And this time we, well, actually you, but kind of me, picked biopics.
Yes.
When we don't have a solid idea of what we want to talk about, I have like a list of like 30 things.
Yep.
That we could talk about, and she just randomly picked biopics. So pick the number that was assigned to biopics.
I did, randomly.
All right, and
which was cool, because then I gave him a list of like 20 movies that were already on my top. So
that's a lot of work to really whittle those down. And I was kind of the opposite. I knew a lot of them, but I had trouble selecting ones. I mean, you could throw a rock and hit a biopic.
Yeah, true.
But which ones you really want to discuss. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But I guess we should maybe just get right into it. And why don't we start with Erin's number 5 biopic selection.
My number 5 biopic is 24-Hour Party People.
Whoop, whoop. Isn't that what people do when they say party? They do this?
Yeah, this is
kind of. I don't know what this is. This raise the roof?
Different type of party.
Yeah.
This movie is about the kind of like the birth of the new wave music genre,
and like the late 70s.
Yeah, the scene in Manchester, England, when it all started. It follows mainly the 2 groups, Joy Division and New Order, and some of the other groups that are around there, and it is very British.
Now, I haven't seen this one, but I know that for real, I don't know if this is in the movie, but Joy Division had a member who passed away.
Yes.
Do they address this in
Yes,
the movie?
they do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
It actually is one of the bits of the movie that sticks with me the most, because it is very much, he goes about his day, sits down, watches some TV, and the next frame is legs swinging. So it's like...
Swinging?
Okay, that's a thing that happened. Yes, okay. They addressed it. Yeah.
But they were pretty, as with a lot of rock groups, they live very much in the moment. They don't really have a care about what's going on tomorrow, really. And I think that even carried through with, like, the band, because then they just replace them, like, the next day. I mean, they didn't really take a lot of time off or stop for this. They just kept going.
It's not so much that they replaced them. It's just the surviving members made a new band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they moved on pretty quick, didn't
Yeah,
they?
well, they kind of had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, like, they took their time to grieve, as one does, but they had to work with studios and other things and get this whole thing up and going, and
Yeah, and this
music scene is crazy.
Yeah, and this has an interesting. It's got Steve Coogan's in this, who I remember from. Well, he was involved with the South Park guys in a movie called Hamlet 2.
Yep.
And he also he's on this show called Alan Partridge, where he plays a DJ.
I would say that the role that he has in this movie is more of an Alan Partridge type character, because he is a like a news anchor type person. He's running a document. He's like doing a documentary on the music scene as the scene is coming. So like
he's like a more funny Les Nessman.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Yeah. Anything else? A
lot of, it's got a lot of people in it.
Yeah, I know that there's a very
John Sims is in it.
Isn't Simon Pegg in it too?
Simon Pegg's in it.
This is got to be one of his first roles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Early 2000s. This was pre
Shirley
Shaun of the
Henderson.
Dead. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Pre-Shaun.
Yeah.
Post-Space, pre-Shaun.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about Space. That was a funny show.
Don't forget about Space. It's amazing.
Yeah. I can assure you, I don't find any of this the least bit amusing. But anyhow, is it my turn?
Yes.
All right. My number 5 pick. Speaking of, hi Mark. If you didn't give it away, my number 5 pick is called The Disaster Artist, which could really just be called The Room, because it's about the movie The Room, if that makes any sense. Well, it happened in real life anyway. This guy who... I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide if this guy has any talent or not, because...
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about Tommy or Greg?
Tommy. Well,
yeah, okay.
I guess you could make the argument for Greg,
for
too.
both.
But this movie...
They're trying their best.
Yeah, which
says a lot.
Yeah, it says a lot. But in real life, there's this movie called The Room that was made, and was infamous for so many reasons, but it kind of became a...
It is quite possibly the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, I mean...
Yes.
Planet 9 from Outer Space at least kind of has some heart to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is kind of... I don't know where you would put this movie. Would you watch it for laughs? Because it's... I wouldn't say it's... Well, it's kind of funny in the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, I cannot watch this movie plainly by itself, The Room itself. I need to watch it with like either the riff tracks or someone else like in the room with me. But like the movie itself is just bad.
Yeah.
But you watch it with a group of people. That's how you watch this movie, because then everybody's just riffing on it.
Well, supposedly
the entire time.
It's been shown. I guess there's kind of a Rocky Horror Pictures component to it, but instead of toast, apparently people throw spoons.
Yeah.
Which, it's been a while since I've actually watched The Room, but I've seen this. I've seen this more than I've actually seen The Room, which is weird, but because this is more entertaining, I guess. I don't know if that means. But when you watch The Disaster Artist in the beginning of the movie, it's like all these real clips of like different actors and directors saying what a genius this guy is, and is he really? Yeah. Or, I mean, as human beings, I get that we're significance junkies and we want to attach meaning to everything, but things don't get famous for the right reason all the time.
Right.
But anyway, it starts off, this guy named Tommy Wiseau, who is, well, actually it starts off with his buddy, Greg, who is played by James Franco's brother. What's his name? I forget his name.
I am suddenly
James Franco.
drawing a blank.
James Franco.
And I feel real Dave. His name is Dave
Franco, yes. They play buddies in the movie, but in real life they're brothers. And they meet at this acting class, and and he does this crazy, what is it, Streetcar Named Desire
Yeah.
thing where he throws a chair and then the teacher's like, no, we're good here. That's
a little too much.
And then
Okay.
they meet in the parking lot. Hey, Tommy, that was really good. You want to do a scene together? Okay. And then he just walks away. And then for Noah, I guess I don't. This guy supposedly has like lots of money, and I don't know. He said that he was in a car accident before this, and I don't know where that's where the money came from. But apparently, because he has apartments in two places which are the most notoriously expensive to live in the world, L.A. and San Francisco. And apparently he can do that, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And he can also just drum up
He's got his own clothing line, you know.
Yeah, and drum up a crew of a movie crew to like shoot The Room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
has
did
money
not
to
hit
burn.
her. I did not. How many takes did that? It was like 13 or 14 takes to get that line. Well, so that was actually a pretty big chunk of dialogue to remember the. I did not hit her. No, I did not.
No, I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. And all that. But, yeah, and I don't know. It's not. I think it wants to be more endearing than it is, but it just doesn't quite come off that way. It's like the significance of the movie is attached to how much you like the movie The Room or have seen The Room. Whereas if you watch it on its own, it doesn't quite hit quite as well. I would
say this is a rare occasion where the book does a much better job of endearing the characters than the movie does. And if you are wanting to read the book, I recommend the audiobook that is read by Greg Sestero. Because
he reads it.
He read it. It's great. It gives you a lot of backstory and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting tale to say the least.
Since we're on the subject of people reading the audiobooks that they're about, I would recommend the Carrie Fisher audiobook, Wishful Drinking, which is a picture of her with her Princess Leia buns, head down on the table, and she's got a martini glass. And it's quite hilarious.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
I'll put that one on my list.
Yeah. Well, that took up enough time. Now it's time for Erin's number 4 biopic selection.
My number 4 is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
And it is.
Yeah.
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 I mean, literally, it's like 80 degrees outside.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous outside.
Yeah. Even though we're in this dark room.
This dank dungeon. Of
Don't let
studio.
don't let this background fool you. It's really dark in here. But yeah, this is a great movie. I like this.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Well, it's pretty hard to full disclosure, it's pretty hard to not like a movie that Tom Hanks is in. I'm trying to think of one of his that I don't like, and it's tough. Are you thinking of Bachelor Party?
No, I'm thinking of all the movies of Tom Hanks that I don't like because, as is well known, amongst the shows that we have done, not the biggest fan, but I did really like him as Fred Rogers in this. So he did a very, very good job. And despite me not really appreciating Tom Hanks, it's a brilliant movie. It's just like Mr. Rogers was there, and he was the nicest person in the world. So, just Tom Hanks brought that out too.
Yeah, well, isn't Tom Hanks supposed to be like the nicest guy in showbiz or something?
Yeah, he is.
Unless, of course,
people wonder why I don't like him. I'm like, I can't explain.
Yeah,
I just can't explain it.
That's kind of like me when I try to describe why I don't like Jimmy Buffett music, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have that argument with my mom all the time, but yeah, it really makes you. It reminds you of like why you like Mr. Rogers as a kid, like
it's
something
a real feel good movie.
Yes, it's man, it's just I don't know. It reminds you of like why you liked that stuff as a kid. Where it's like a lot of things you were into when you were younger, and you look at them when you're older, like, why did I do that, or why did I like this thing? But when you were between, I don't know, 3 and 8, you know, and like, yeah, that was really good,
and it really did show that even behind the scenes, he was still such a nice guy. Like, not only was he a nice guy on screen, teaching your kids, behind the scenes, still the same guy. Yeah. Still the same guy.
Yeah, and it focused on a friendship that he had with this journalist. I think was from the Washington Post.
That sounds right.
I think so. That he went to do a story on him, and they just kind of became friends and learned more about him and how he was, and yeah, but since we're on the subject. And it's like, yeah, because he's not around anymore. But I don't know if those are available to watch anywhere. They must be somewhere.
Mr. Rogers?
Old Mr. Rogers episodes.
Well, I think you can still watch them on PBS. I think they do.
You run through them?
Run through them again. Okay.
I remember when
I don't know if Mr. Rogers also has a Twitch channel like Bob Ross does. But he might.
Yeah.
So...
I remember when I was a kid, Mr. Rogers went to go visit behind the scenes of the Incredible Hulk TV show.
Wow.
and they had to, they actually interviewed, I think, Lou Ferrigno when he was putting on the green makeup, and he actually talks when he's getting his makeup done. It's just, and nice. Bill Bixby's just waiting in his chair. Oh, hi, Fred. How you doing? He's just a nice guy. And it was just kind of neat for a kid to see how that worked. But yeah, since we're on a small tangent here,
okay.
In regard to children's programming, I don't know if you've been following the upheaval that's been going on with like Warner Brothers and HBO Max.
Following it slightly, yes.
Yeah, HBO Max just dumped like 200 episodes of Sesame Street off of their server, which is, you know, not like I watch anything, but it just seems kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they bought it to have the rights for it, and now that they have the rights for it, and they're going through some other changes, I guess.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, whatever, we don't care. It's like,
well, if you're a fan of DC Comics, they have a Flash movie that they, I guess, are going to release, but is a PR nightmare because the lead actor has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. They had a Batgirl movie, which they're not showing at all because apparently it's terrible.
It was done.
And it was done.
It was done. Just release it. Yeah. They had 2 movies done.
And they have an Aquaman 2 coming out, which has Amber Heard in it. And more bad. I mean, they just had a couple of huge strokes of bad luck there.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Apparently purged 200 episodes of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Amongst some other shows that was really the only way you could watch them.
Oh, well.
So.
Yeah. But
I'm not a big corporation. I don't know.
All right. Is it my turn? All right. My number 4 selection. Yeah, I discovered this one through Netflix not that long ago, and it's quite good. It is called Dolomite Is My Name. And messing up people is my game.
Okay.
That's how I will phrase that. Well, that's what he says in the movie, sort of. But yeah, it's not so much about... I thought it was going to be mostly kind of like the way the Disaster Artist revolved around the room, where it was just going to be about the making of the movie Dolomite. And it is toward the end, but it focuses more on the guy who's behind it, is Rudy Ray Moore, which is played by Eddie Murphy. And Rudy Ray Moore was not... He was a personality in the truest sense. He was a comedian. He was an actor. He did music. I mean, he did everything. He's trying to get like these radio stations to like play his records, and nobody wants to do it. And he would do these comedy bits, and he would go to all these record labels to sell his comedy, and nobody wanted to release it. So he literally made his own and sold them. He would perform, and then afterwards he'd go back to his car on the trunk and sell copies of the album. And then people were listening to him all over the place, and all these record people were like, where's that coming from? Who put that out? They can't figure it out. And then they kind of realized they made a mistake there. And They sell pretty well, and he gets himself a nice record deal, and he uses that money to finance. He goes to the movies to watch. I forget what it was. It was a funny movie with like all white people in it.
Okay.
And they're like him and his buddies. Of course, are all black, and they're like, man, it ain't funny. You know what's going on? There's no funny stuff in this movie. And so they wanted to make their own movie, you know, with a little more. How shall I say it? Urban humor, and if you want to call it that.
Okay.
And so he basically mortgages his royalties from his comedy from the record label to finance this movie that he wants to make called Dolomite.
Ah.
And it is adventurous to make, and I would say it's a funnier movie than Disaster Artist.
Okay.
And Rudy, there's a problem. Like, can you make it look like you're actually hitting the guy? Because and I've seen the real Dolomite, and there's this thing where he gets busted for dope, where he's got the trunk open, and he's like doing the thing where he like does this, but you can obviously he doesn't even touch the guy, but the guy, and then back kicks the guy into the trunk, and the trunk closes.
Okay.
And then the director's like, I think it was played by Wesley Snipes. I think plays the director. He's like, do you think you could make it look like you're actually hitting him? Have you ever fought anybody before ever? Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they managed to get this. They were behind schedule on payment. You know, they were supposed to pay the money back to the record label, and he was, oh man, what am I going to do? I can't finish this movie, and I can't finish it. And even if I finish it, where am I going to? Nobody will buy it, so they can show it, just like with the album. And eventually, he just takes the thing himself to a theater in like Indiana or something and shows it. And then he kind of does this very grassrootsy thing, and that gets the attention, of course, of a movie production company. And then they make the deal with him, and then he was able to pay the money back.
Oh.
So. Yeah, very funny film. Eddie Murphy, Snoop Dogg has a part in it as a DJ.
Nice.
Wesley Snipes, the Key guy from Key and Peele. I forgot.
Okay. Keegan-Michael Key, yeah.
Keegan-Michael Key, yeah. That guy, he's in it. Quite a few people are in this week. Chris Rock is in it. Just a funny movie about Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh.
Highly recommend it. And I quote some more lines from the movie, but we're a family show, so I can't really do that.
Oh.
But it doesn't get into it because he actually ended up making more movies after that, like Petey Wheatstraw and Disco Godfather, and they're crazy.
Those sound amazing.
Yeah, you really should check that out. If you want some not good but entertaining films,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Dolomite Is My Name. That's probably the best thing Eddie Murphy's done in like 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Outside, on screen, like outside of like Donkey on Shrek. I mean, he's
outside of voice work.
He's put out a lot of turds, and this one is pretty great, I gotta say. So, yeah. Okay. Dolomite's my name. All right, on to your number 3 selection.
My number 3 selection is Elvis, the one that came out this year. Dude, I love Elvis. Like, just in general. And I'm going to keep going. You can make whatever noise you want to over there. When I heard that Baz Luhrmann was making an Elvis movie, I was like, yes, that is the perfect person to make an Elvis movie.
And this is really hot off the presses because that movie came out, like a month ago?
Couple months.
Couple months? Okay.
Yeah. Couple months. Still in the theater. Actually, it just left our it's just now leaving our theater, but we are trying to get it back for next week because it's the Elvis explosion.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do that down there.
Yes, come to La Crosse. We have Elvis, all of them. A whole bunch of them.
Sorry.
But yeah, it is your story of Elvis as you really know it, but it's more so told by Colonel Parker.
Played by
Tom Hanks. Yes, I know.
You know, for someone who doesn't like Tom Hanks, he really shows up a lot in your list today.
Today, yes. But I will say, I liked him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
And yes, he is the bad guy in this movie.
You don't, by any chance, have that thing you do in your list?
No, I don't.
Because he's in that, too,
Yeah,
where he
I
plays
know.
a manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's in a lot of stuff, and they're all kind of the same.
Kind of. Or what's that, the one with the pilot, Captain Phillips? Well, there's that. There's
yeah, Sully.
the Sully movie, yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
Yep. He does a lot of the same things, and I just think he should stick to comedy, honestly. But that's
Which
just
he
me.
doesn't really do as much.
No, he doesn't.
No, which he should.
Which is the problem that I have with it.
Yeah. He needs more bachelor parties.
Play to your strength. You are a very funny man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Elvis.
Yeah. Elvis.
Elvis. Elvis is really good. It really just shows you kind of what it's like to go through what was going on. There's a scene in Elvis. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Not this one, no. I have seen other Elvis bios, and I've actually been to Graceland before.
Nice.
But not this one. I've seen the John Carpenter one, where Kurt Russell plays Elvis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where they met.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
That was the beginning of their partnership in film, yeah.
And the rest was history.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there's a scene in this movie where it's early on in Elvis's career, like it's his first real big live show, and like it just shows the audience just exploding, but like how exactly it felt to be in an audience like that. And I don't know.
Girls passing out.
Yeah, but it's just
Throwing
like
their
the girls
throwing their
can't
unmentionables.
contain themselves, and nobody really knows why.
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who really likes boy bands, it was very like I understood exactly what was being portrayed on the screen. So
I would have hated to have been the janitor. I mean,
Yeah.
man, like, why is this floor so wet?
Oh, God.
Man, ugh. Smell.
it's like cleaning the theaters after Twilight.
Oh, oh,
It
dear.
wasn't good, man. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I have war flashbacks.
Oh, that's. Now, I have to ask. I haven't seen this particular version of the Elvis story, but do they dig into his love of peanut butter and banana sandwiches?
Not really.
No.
No.
It's always fun when they. I mean, they're not super crucial to the story usually, but it's kind of fun when they throw those little things in
Do you
there.
have a problem with peanut butter and banana sandwiches?
No, I love
They are
them.
delicious.
If you like put them in like a sandwich press.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're really good.
I prefer to eat it like a hot dog.
Oh, interesting. I'd never thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And like an actual hot dog bun.
Yeah, just a
So you
regular,
put, like,
the
peanut
whole
butter-
banana.
Peanut
Put
butter
ba-
underneath the bun and. Whoa.
Yeah,
That's interesting. You don't put like, the.
put a little honey on it.
Oh, I was going to say like whipped cream on the top with the.
No whipped cream.
Or I'm thinking of like those Twinkie wiener sandwiches. Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, now that's a
Eats.
biopic I can't wait for.
Yeah. Not eligible because it's not out yet.
Nope, exactly.
But I look forward to it. Harry Potter as Weird Al Yankovic.
In
Bring it
a
on.
big old spoof movie, it's gonna be great.
Okay. Is it my
Yeah,
turn?
Elvis. Go ahead.
Okay, my number 3 selection is number 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. Garnered quite a bit of praise when it came out, and it even won an Oscar, maybe 2. It is Bohemian Rhapsody. The story of, well, I guess it is mostly I guess you could say it's the Freddie Mercury story, but it's about him and Queen and how they became what they became, and it's probably one of the, as far as like bands go, one of the best band bio movies I've ever seen. I would say it's up there for sure. Rami Malek won the Oscar for playing Freddie Mercury, well deserved. Although, has he done anything? I mean, he's done things since, but that have been as
He was in Bond.
worth. Yeah, but he was such.
He's gonna be in the new
I didn't think
movie by a guy I can't think of, David O. Russell, Amsterdam. He's going to be in that one.
Okay.
Of course, half of Hollywood is going to be in that movie.
Yeah, but I didn't think like as a Bond villain he was all that. I mean, he just
He was just
I don't
kind of
know.
there as a
He's
name.
no surprises. It's just kind of
Yeah. I think, honestly, he doesn't have to do anything else.
Don't think so?
No.
No. Okay.
I think he did
good?
this. He's probably good for a while. He'll slink back into the smaller roles that he's used to.
Yeah. Like another Mr. Robot type show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, this traces the story of Queen and how they became popular, and in his own story, his family immigrated to the UK from, I think, Zanzibar, which is an island off of India. And they kept saying that everybody thought he was from Pakistan. They called him a Paki all the time, and even when he was singing, they started calling him Paki. And but then he opened up his mouth and he sang, and these words came out, and everybody just kind of
Then the vocals shine through.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And
Yeah, and even like the way they recorded their albums, where they put like stuff in the piano wires when they were playing the piano, or throwing the amplifiers around the studio, or just weird little tricks like
overdubbing.
that. Overdubbing.
So many times.
Yeah. It's like, I can't scream any higher. Do it again. Do it again. You know. Dogs are gonna start coming over. I'm singing so high. But yeah, and then but it's also kind of traces his as successful as he wasn't real happy with his life, because he wasn't with his then girlfriend, and then his girlfriend finds out he's not just into girls but into other people, and that kind of complicated things, and even that
and
wasn't.
They washed as much of that out as they possibly could, while still mentioning it in the movie.
Yeah, but we kind of see him get a little happy, but also kind of parallels his relationship with his family too, because his dad doesn't really think he's making much of his life, even after he becomes successful. He doesn't think much of what he does and that kind of thing, and that kind of resolves by the end of the movie quite a bit, and which is nice. And it ends with the concert and the song and the music, and you're just kind of on a really high note. Whereas like so many rock biopics are so. I kind of use this like the Doors movie. I think is, I mean, it's an okay movie, but it's such a depressing.
Oh yeah.
It just ends. It does not end well.
Right.
I mean, even like it didn't end well for Freddie Mercury either. But the movie chose to end on a high note for him.
Exactly.
And a good moment for the audience, and you see why it won an Oscar. And it made people feel good, and that about themselves and all that kind of thing. And yeah. And I've actually seen the surviving members of Queen play. It was billed as Queen with the guy from American Idol.
Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert. Singing Queen songs, but it's kind of it was. I never really had a chance to see Freddie Mercury but last time he was in America with Queen, I was about 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I remember I was in an elevator going to the concert, and I said, I saw Freddie Mercury play here with them back in 1981 when it was still called the St. Paul Civic Center. I'm like, oh, wow, holy cow.
Wow.
I am so jealous of you right now. But,
good for you.
yeah. But yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. So, Erin's number 3 selection.
2.
Are we on the 2s now?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was 3. Now we're 2.
All right.
As we count backwards. My number 2 selection is Tick Tick Boom. Because I have to stick with the musicals here. It is what I know. And this is one of those rare semi-autobiographical biopic, because the original Tick Tick Boom musical was written by Jonathan Larson, and about himself trying to bring a musical to life. And he never got to finish that musical that he was working on. But he did get to finish another one, and that one was called Rent, and it's very famous and popular. And then he sadly passed away from an aneurysm.
Now, I gotta ask, though, in this movie, like Bohemian Rhapsody, did it end on a high note or did it end on the down note?
This one kind of because he wrote it himself. It was right before Rent, so he was working on Rent, so it was kind of a high note because he got a little bit what he wanted, but then they did not fund his musical, so he had to start over again, starting from fresh, writing music again. But it still felt like it was a good ending because he's still going to do what he wants to do, and the movie itself and the musical itself does not end with him dying because he didn't die. Okay. He hadn't died yet. He was still working on other things, so
yeah. It just always seems like the thing with the biopic, does it actually end with the person dying or not?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just because,
and a lot of them do, and it's really sad.
Sometimes it doesn't necessarily make the movie bad if they do die, but other times, I keep kicking a dead horse with the Doors movie, but I mean there's just such a
the most interesting people burn bright and burn short, so
yeah, that's true.
That's why they get
Tommy
movies
Wiseau,
made out of him. Yeah,
because he's still around.
He's still here,
and
will never
is he
die.
making more movies
He is a
now?
Vampire.
Yeah, that dude is wow. Oh, hi, Mark.
He was completely broke in The Masquerade. Anyway, Tick Tick Boom came out last year. It was released on Netflix, so very few theaters actually got it in the theaters, but it was up for some Oscars, so a couple theaters got to see it because that's how the Oscars work. But I do think it was one of the best musical movies that I've seen in a while. Hence it being number 2 on my list. And I will say that Andrew Garfield was absolutely robbed from his Oscar that he should have gotten for this movie.
Now, was he nominated for this?
Yes.
Well, who did he lose to?
Will Smith.
Oh, for the
King Richard.
I was going to say for punching Chris Rock.
Yep. No, he won shortly after he did that.
Yeah, wow. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, no.
I will.
Moving on.
I will say this about the Tommy Wiseau thing. When you talk about,
that was nominated too, surprisingly.
I can't let go of this. Well, it's crazy. Like, can you name the movie that won Best Picture in 2012?
2012?
Yeah.
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay, that's a good example because people are talking about The Room, but if something won Best Picture 10 years ago and no one remembers it, there, I was saying something positive about Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't mean it's good, but I mean, I say that a lot of things, and I'm going to talk more about them more when I get to my number 1 pick. But is it my turn now?
Yes, number 2 pick.
My number 2 selection, I'm going back, I think, let's see, Bohemian Rhapsody, Disaster Artist, and Dolomite have all kind of come out in the last 2-3 years. This one I'm going way back, like to 30 plus, or 35 probably, to the 80s.
All of mine are within the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I feel a little bad about it.
Robin Williams was in a movie called Good Morning Vietnam, where he plays a DJ sent to Vietnam to entertain the troops, or as it were, in the war they have these united, armed forces service radio networks to bring news and inform people. But they also needed people to play music and entertain. And he played a DJ named Adrian Cronauer, and it was based on a true story, where he would entertain the troops, and he just did crazy voices and all that kind of stuff, and he even got himself into a little bit of trouble. See, now this is where I think he kind of defies the Tom Hanks role a bit, because Robin Williams could do dramatic, but he can also do comedy. Whereas with Tom Hanks can't really, he kind of just sticks to the dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom Hanks can be funny and just do really silly things, but he kind of, whereas Robin Williams kind of goes back and forth, I think. or did. He's no
Yeah.
longer with us, unfortunately.
Fortunately.
Yeah, he just does all these funny bits, and some of his superiors don't like it when he talks about the president or the vice president or makes fun of them or what happens in their personal lives and things like that, and does crazy voices and, oh, good morning, Vietnam. You know, he just does that. I don't want to blow out my microphone here, but yeah. How hot is out there? It's hot. It's really, really hot out there. And much like Dolomite, there's some jokes which I probably shouldn't mention on a family show, but they're really funny. Yeah, and the guy who's assigned to show him around is Forrest Whitaker, played by Forrest Whitaker. And
Wait. So he's playing himself?
no, he's playing a different person.
Oh, okay.
The actor Forrest Whitaker.
It's like what I heard is Forrest Whitaker played by Forrest Whitaker, and I'm like,
Oh, no.
what?
Just a few years after he made his screen debut in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, where he played the hulking football player. I forget his name, but in the movie. But he also gets involved with this girl that he kind of likes, and the girl's brother is involved with this terrorist group, and, which kind of gets him in hot water with his superiors. And then he starts reading news because they censored a lot of news over there, and he's not supposed to talk about certain bombings or attacks that happen. And he gets tired of it one day and just decides to, hey, in official news, nothing really happened today. Just like no bomb went off downtown, no bomb went off on this street, which he wasn't supposed to do. So that kind of got him in some trouble, and then eventually they had to ship him off. But yeah, very entertaining movie, based on a true story, and I highly recommend it. Good Morning Vietnam.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think it might be on HBO Max, but I'm not sure. But
you can find it wherever it is streaming.
Yeah. This is not a test. This is rock and roll. Down to the DMZ. Yeah, that's what, I'm sorry. But yeah, Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Or should I say, good morning? Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, are we on the ones now?
You're on the ones.
Okay, Erin's number one biopic.
I will say that my family guessed this when I was going through my list, and they're like running through.
You
like, what
you
is
make
your number
family
one?
Guess?
Yes, I do, because
It's a guessing
that
game?
is how I roll. And my number one pick is Rocket Man.
Oh yes. Yeah.
That seems like a weird reaction from you.
Well, I will say this. I think both this and Bohemian Rhapsody, unlike a lot of other films about musicians, actually had the benefit of the movies that they're about. Both Elton John and members of Queen were involved in the making of the film, which I think they both speak for themselves. They're both pretty great movies. So I thought they were both really good. So, but anyway, this is your pick.
This is my pick,
Yes.
Rocket Man, which is the story of Elton John, as expertly played by Taron Egerton, and it is, as only a movie about Elton John could be, it is a fairy tale. The whole thing.
And he kind of narrates his own story.
Yeah. He's narrating his whole own story from the Ford Clinic as he's going through rehab, one of the many, many times.
Yeah.
And
he was there a lot too.
he was, yeah. he had some problems, but he's better now. He's on his 50th anniversary farewell tour. He means it this time, though.
Count.
He means it this time.
Yeah.
He sure does.
Well, I looked into, a little bit of a non sequitur here, but I looked into some concert tickets for him. He was playing in Milwaukee. But because he was supposed to play there before COVID happened, and they let, the people keep him because they were going to reschedule the date and all that kind of thing. And let's say the ones that were available, well, they weren't great seats, but even those were a little pricey.
Very pricey.
Yeah.
Very, very pricey.
But
for
another,
tickets.
and there's a music channel or debate show I should say that I listen to on YouTube, and they say one of the reasons why concert tickets have gotten so expensive in the last 10 to 20 years is because of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, pirate music, but even things like Spotify and Apple, they don't pay. I mean, they don't. The checks they get for the music that gets played on those things aren't very big. So they don't really make money. They make money on concerts,
Yep.
touring, and like
Merchandise
and T-shirts and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. So, but anyway, it's like I paid $5 to see the Rolling Stones in 1967. Those people. Well,
And now factor in inflation.
yeah.
And
Well, even 20 years ago, I paid only $40 to go see Kiss and Ted Nugent together.
why?
But it was, that just shows you how expensive tickets have gotten in the last.
No. Going to concerts is very, very, very
It's much more
pricey.
expensive than when I was 22. Let's put it that
Like,
way.
I wish I could go to more concerts, and a lot of my groups are coming through the cities, and I can't go see them because
Yeah.
I'm poor.
Anyway, rant over.
Rant not over.
Anyway, Rocket Man.
Concerts should be cheaper. Anyways, Rocket Man, I just, one, I'm just a really big fan of Elton John. Always have been. And to have this movie, be as mostly accurate as it could be, but still be a fairy
Yeah.
tale, because Elton is a very bigger than life person.
Mhm. Oh, yes.
And then it only covers through mid 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It stops before any Disney work, because they probably couldn't get the rights to any of that.
Yeah, because this was a Paramount production. And yeah, that licensing. I'm guessing if you want to license anything from Disney, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
If you want to talk about Disney, we shouldn't be talking about Disney. They're going to take us off the air.
Oh, is this kind of like the Harry Potter thing where if you mention the name, they just kind of
What are we talking
magically
about?
appear out of the air? But, yeah. Oh, I get another non sequitur. This is Elton John related.
Okay.
You say you're an Elton John fan. Are you going to get the Elton John action figure diorama?
No.
There is an
But
Elton.
what?
There is a. This is. I get this stuff on my social media. I see where this comes from. But there is a Elton John from his concert in Dodger Stadium in '78. I forget what year it was. Where he's got
Late 70s. The dazzly baseball uniform.
where
Yep.
he's got that, and
I know
he's
which
got-
one. Yeah.
and the piano, where you can put him on the piano, him playing
Yeah.
the piano, and just put it on your bookshelf, your computer.
That would be awesome.
It is out. I think it's out now.
Yeah?
But a company called NECA, N-E-C-A, they make
Okay.
these novelty. They do a lot figures from movies and stuff. They also do music. They do the Kiss figures and Prince and all these people. And there is an Elton John one with him and his piano.
Nice.
And there's not. This is old too, but there's an Elton John pinball machine. I think Mr. Fantastic or something. Captain Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's modeled after that. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's really neat. Wow, I should shut up. Oh wait, I have to talk
Go
about.
Go watch Rocket Man. What's your number one pick?
My number one pick is a somewhat, I would say, a better version of The Disaster Artist. And it also features a man who's been in the news a lot lately for all the wrong reasons, even though he had his name cleared. This is with Johnny Depp, and it's called Ed Wood, which, unlike The Disaster Artist, I mean, you don't have to have seen any of Ed Wood's movies. It helps if you're a fan. And it kind of fits, but it has a lot more. It's funnier, I would say, and it has a lot more heart to it because he kind of has the same dreams of Hollywood as that Wiseau does, where he's just like, I want to make movies, and he talks like he's got a lot of moxie, and he's from the 50s, and that's how he grew up, and he's just really good in this movie.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, and he's the outsider looking in, and he doesn't have. he's basically directing plays in this little theater, and he kind of attracts these other people as the movie goes along. He attracts people who don't, either they're past their prime or they can't get their career started, and they just kind of hang out together all the time. And one day he's walking down the street. I'm not taking these off for dramatic effect. I really have to itch my eye. And he's walking by like this funeral home or this where all these coffins are open in this store, and he kind of sticks his head in there, and there's a guy in the coffin with his arms crossed. All of a sudden, his eyes open up, and he hops out of the coffin, and he says, "This is the most uncomfortable coffin I've ever been in." And it's Bela Lugosi, who plays Dracula, who Martin Landau, who plays Lugosi in the movie, won an Oscar for this. He's really, I don't think he really sounds or even looks like a lot like Lugosi, really, but he just kind of has something where he's so fun. There's all these in-jokes. He ends up, Ed Wood wants him to be, he doesn't know what he wants him to be in yet, but he wants to work with him because he thinks he's great. Because he's like old news.
Yeah.
Nobody wants him anymore because he's Dracula. Who cares? But he loves him. He wants to put him in his next movie. And he's like, "Oh, what do you just? Everybody wants my money. You want my time. What to do?" He's probably got a better accent than Lizo does. I'm just not. I just can't let that go.
Are you talking about Bela Lugosi or Martin Landau?
I don't know. Sure. Yeah. Lugosi,
because one was actually Hungarian, so he would have the better accent.
Landau doing Lugosi better than. Oh.
What did you do?
I hit the remote control. I'm
oh
sorry.
No.
Who cares? I'm just gonna throw it. There we go.
Oh, you didn't throw it.
Yeah, I did.
No,
I threw something.
Still on the screen.
Oh.
Continue.
Oh. I threw something. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, and then finally he gets him to be in this. I think it was Bride of the Mom. No, it's Glenn or Glenda, which is pretty. If anyone's never seen Glenn or Glenda, it's a very
Chucky.
You can probably tell from the title, but it was a very. Even now it'd be. I don't want to say it would be tame, but it'd still be pretty risque. But even back then, it was very risque to do that kind of a movie, and he brings it to the distributor guy, like, "What did you do? This is the kind of movie I wanted." He's just all mad, like, "What is this?" All this kind of thing, and and he apparently, for some reason, Ed Wood liked putting on women's clothes. I don't know, it's just who he was, and then Lugosi, he's just got these great. There's this running gag throughout the movie where people ask him about Boris Karloff, about their supposed rivalry. Karloff, he's not good enough to smell my, that kind of thing. And then throughout the movie, where's Lugosi? He's not here. It's like, hey, maybe you should ask him about Karloff when he's good, just see if he goes off. But then towards the end of the movie, you see that Lugosi has had a addiction to, I think, morphine or heroin.
Yeah.
And they're making this movie that they needed like a monster, and the monster didn't work. So what do? They all get together, Scooby-Doo style, go down to the movie studio, break into the prop department, and steal a giant octopus. And go to this pond where they can shoot this thing where Lugosi's, "Bella, where are you?" He's like, "I sleep. You wake me up when seen here." And then he wakes up and he says something else so funny that I can't say. But then he kind of has this real human moment where he breaks down, and you kind of see what he's sad about with the Karloff thing. "They offered me Frankenstein, I turned down." And he's really, it's a really kind of a sad moment. And you kind of see why he's all ticked off about the whole thing, and he's a real human moment. But then there's genuinely funny with he's the scientist. He's like, "Pull the string." It's just so good, and then and then Johnny Depp's like, and then like they get the wrestler guy named Tor Johnson to be in this movie to be the monster because he's big and ugly. He's walking through the door on the set, and his shoulder hits the thing, and the wall wobbles, so you can clear it's like, and cut, brilliant. We're moving on. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Shouldn't we redo that? No, well, the set wiggled. It's obviously fake. Should we do it again? No, you see, in his real life, he would struggle walking through doors. He had this way of talking his way through all this stuff, and it just, yeah. But yeah, made a lot of terrible movies, but unlike the Best Picture winner from 10 years ago, people still talk about Ed Wood, right? So
I'm going to look this up right now.
Please do. Yeah, that's
I must know.
That's my number one. You have any honorable mentions?
Mainly Selena.
I'm not going to mention anything specific, but I will say that, like I said, there are a zillion biopics. There is enough where we could do a second show. Probably not real soon, but if we ever run out of ideas, we could do a biopics volume 2 if we really wanted to. So, hey, maybe we'll do that in the future. We'll see. I don't know, but
2012 Best Actor, Oscar Best Picture, The Artist.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Did you like it?
I did. I haven't seen it since I saw it the first time.
Did you remember anything about it before I even mentioned that to you? That it was the best. What was the best picture?
Do I remember anything about The Artist?
No, I mean, like, since you've seen it, have you thought about it at all or had the urge to rewatch it? Is it memorable?
Maybe once in a while. I go, you know what? I really want to watch a black and white silent film made in 2012. So. All
right, well, I guess
anyway.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll do another biopic show someday.
I've got a list.
We've got a list. A lot of other. If we ever run out, maybe we could always do another one. So. Part two. So anyway, that's it for this show. I'm Drew.
I'm Erin.
And goodbye, Mark. We'll see you later.